name is Cole Jones, also known as Iowa, and I am the General Director for Project Autumn. I keep everybody on track and make sure that we're realizing our vision to the fullest potential. I'm also one of our 3D modelers. I began learning 3D modeling all the way back in 2017 when I was helping a friend out with his personal project. I soon realized that I enjoyed it and I stuck with it, finding it to be my preferred art medium. I felt like it gave life to my ideas a lot more than, say, drawing them. Being able to see them in a 3D form and add them into things such as games was what I was looking for. When I became interested in game development was probably back when Halo 3 added Forge mode. It really allowed me to get creative in a virtual space, and I always found myself wanting more out of a situation like that. Things like Far Cry 2's map editor and even Minecraft were really good outlets for me, and they really made me want to push farther when it came to translating my ideas into actual things you could see and interact with. And that eventually led me to pursuing game development as a hobby. Project Autumn started with another project called Supernova, which is now called Coral. I originally joined them around early 2017, and I worked with them and I had a blast doing it, but I realized that I wanted something different out of the project than what they did, so I left and I started my own. Originally, when the project began, there was a lot of planning. I wanted to have our development roadmap worked out before we even started development. I myself, being an artist, know nothing much about programming. From the beginning, I knew that our progress would lie heavily on me putting together a very talented team of multiple positions.
Hi, my name is Shirley, and I'm the Director of Art here at Project Autumn. I started 3D modeling about 3 years ago when I was trying to put together a platform I could use to create custom Spartans out of different armor pieces from various parts of Halo media. That really quickly led to me having to model my own armor parts. I wanted to work on Project Autumn because I wanted to see Halo innovate while staying true to its core values, and, in line with what I started modeling for, bring an amazing Spartan customization system to the community.
Hey guys, I'm Jake, or Rex, and I am the project manager for Project Autumn, as well as one of our voice actors. I got involved with Project Autumn in late 2019, and later on down the line was afforded the opportunity to assume a higher role within the project. Now as project manager, I wear many different hats, including creating media, and I also help to keep the project on track in the absence of Cole or Shirley, and also interact with the public. Additionally, one of the reasons that I really wanted to get involved with the Halo community on a deeper level was because Halo has been the one constant throughout my life, no matter what age I've been, and has afforded me the opportunity to meet people and go places and create lifelong friendships both in the real world and online. And I just want to give back to the community that's given so much to me already.
Hi, my name is Elia and I work on Project Autumn as a concept artist. I picked up on concept art in 2018 when I learned that I could apply for Halo fan games. To me, being a 13-year-old dreaming 343, I was determined to be able to work on a Halo project, even if it was a simple fan game. So I practiced, and I still am mastering digital illustration, and now many other aspects of game development.
Hi, my name is Frans Flygare, and I work on Project Autumn as a concept artist and illustrator. I started studying as a game artist in 2012 and later found concept art so inspiring and fun to make. So naturally I worked my way on becoming a concept artist ever since.
Hi, my name is Jason and I am part of the audio team working on Project Autumn as a sound designer. I started working with audio when I was only 15, doing musical performances with gigs and stuff like that, but more recently moved into media doing audio design and music for games and other apps.
Initially, I wanted to pay homage to the classic games that I grew up playing, but I wasn't really sure what the correct way to do this was. There were several iterations of the project during pre-production that never saw the light of day. For instance, the original Project Autumn was going to be an open-world version of Halo Combat Evolved, with a completely remastered story and open-world stealth shooter mechanics like those seen in Far Cry. Fun fact, the reason the project is still called Project Autumn is because the Pillar of Autumn would have played a massive role in this game, where the player would return to receive and turn in orders and also upgrade and change their gear. And the name simply stuck around. I felt at the time that the project scope was too large to pull off, so I decided that I had to downgrade my scope. And that resulted in the idea for a game called Operation Athens, which would tell the story of a squad of Spartans defending a planet that was heavily populated by civilians against the Covenant invasion. Sort of the opposite of what happened with the first idea. I felt like that project didn't exactly live up to the vision I had. I felt like there wasn't enough to it to do justice what I wanted to do when it came to making a Halo fan game. My next idea after that was to try and pull off a Halo MMO, which would have been top-down and controlled in a dual-stick fashion, and it would have been about collecting gear and going to different planets and running missions and fighting bosses in an almost roguelike style with your friends and meeting complete strangers along the way. That was probably the least realistic iteration of the idea, and that wasn't very long-lived at all. I eventually settled on the idea that I wanted to do a renewed take on the classic Halo multiplayer that I grew up loving. I wanted to answer the questions not only what if Bungie had kept creating the Halo series, but what if they had never cut this idea or that idea out of the classic games in the first place? I wanted to look at what would have been and sort of bring that to the light of day, as well as bringing back the comfort food classic Halo multiplayer experience that we all know.
Halo 2 and 3 had this sort of comic action hero style about them due to the characters and objects having this sort of semi-black outline around them, but also because of the rough, dirty, saturated colors that they all had, this sort of hand-drawn quality to everything, but also due to the sort of impossibly inconceivable feats of heroism and strength that Master Chief and the characters just were able to pull off.
Ultimately, our art style came from the idea of taking the classic Halo games, Combat Evolved, Halo 2, and Halo 3 to an extent, and bringing their sense of style into a graphically modern game. It's our strong belief that none of those games were intended to be photoreal, so even though we are utilizing modern graphical systems and techniques, our goal is to create an aesthetic that isn't entirely realistic. The Halo trilogy placed a lot of emphasis on hand-drawn qualities to the visuals, as well as exaggerated visual aspects, such as bright colors and heavy bloom, which produce vibrant and almost dreamlike visuals. These are exactly the kind of qualities that we want to incorporate into our visual style, while also adding some of our own flair.
I wanted to work on Project Autumn when I saw the chance to create breathtaking concepts and the opportunity to create something new in the Halo universe, and how can I say no to that? What I'm really interested in is to create concept that tells a story, that you can see or feel without any prompt or text.
In addition to our art design, one of the really critical elements for Project Autumn is our map design. Because we are inspired by games like Apex Legends or the classic Star Wars Battlefronts, maps of those sizes and scale present their own unique challenges. And so one of the most important challenges for us as a development team is finding ways to take the maps that you know and love and are intimately familiar with and incorporating them into a larger world and breaking down the walls, so to speak. A great example of this was done by 343, where they took coagulation and they broke down the barriers to the map. And it was done really well, and it's absolutely gorgeous. This is a primary focus of ours. We want to make sure that we are taking these standalone maps and utilizing them correctly in the grand scheme of our Battle Royale maps. We don't want to take these beautiful worlds and just disrespectfully plop them down in the middle of a terrain. We need to make sure that they're done right and done right the first time. And we need to make sure that ultimately we're paying the proper respect to the developers and the fans by taking these maps and utilizing them correctly in the grand scheme of things. So we have our map Guardian from Halo 3 that we all know of. And we ultimately want to make sure that we are choosing the correct implementation of incorporating this into a larger world and still making sure that we're keeping the same flow of battle that has traditionally existed in it, but allowing it that ability to go out into the larger world. So outside of everything else, one of the most important things for us was the armor. We had to make sure that we were paying homage to the Halos that came before. There was no way we were going to wantonly and in a clunky manner just, concoct this random scheme of armor and let the players use that. We needed to make sure that this was our magnum opus, our pièce de résistance. So our armor, as well as our weapons, have all been painstakingly crafted. But it's important to us to make sure that our fans and the players are getting the best of the best.
It's definitely a fine line. We're trying to find a very precise balance between realism and stylization. If we lean too heavily towards stylization, the game will look quite off compared to what many people think of when they think of Halo. Every game has a different style, and some Halo games are not quite as stylized as others. Too little stylization, and we'll lose that classic aspect to the visuals that our art style is just designed to embrace.
Well, we're playing around with a lot of new and some would say risky ideas, while still trying to maintain roots in what made classic Halo multiplayer enjoyable to us. One of the biggest challenges that I can see us facing going forward would be competing for everybody's attention. With the sheer amount of Halo fan content coming people's way, as well as the fact that the entire Halo franchise is now available on the PC platform, there's a lot of things that people have to look forward to. And making ourselves stand out is definitely going to be one of our biggest challenges going forward. But based on what we're promising and based on what we have in the works, I feel like once people really start to see more of us, they're going to definitely pay a lot more attention.
I really want the community to remember that at the end of the day, we are all just fans that are passionate about Halo. Project Autumn will not tick each and every fan's preferences about what they personally want to see in a Halo game, and it's likely that no Halo game, official or otherwise, ever will. Halo is a series that everyone has their own personal experiences and their own personal memories and ideas about what Halo is and what Halo should be, and I imagine that makes 343's job making new Halo games so incredibly difficult. But it's precisely why there are so many groups of fans that are working on tons of different Halo projects and are all looking to present Halo in their own unique light. It's okay that everyone has a different idea of what Halo is and what Halo should be. If you're somehow only aware of Project Autumn, or maybe a small circle of Halo fan games, I highly recommend you go out and seek all of the Halo fan games you can find. There are some truly interesting projects out there, all of which have amazing and passionate Halo fans just like us working on them. You'll probably find a good few that interest you, even if they don't line up with exactly what you expect from a Halo game.
We're definitely taking our time to make sure that the product you get is the best that we can possibly give you. We're not going to rush anything, and we're not going to make false promises. The most I can say is you can expect some kind of release within the next 2 to 3 years. To the Halo community in general, I'd like to say a big thank you. Were it not for Halo in the first place, I would not have the creativity and imagination that I do now. And that goes for everything, not just this project. Halo has always been there, and it's always pushed me to imagine what could be. I love the fact that the Halo universe is so open to new iterations and new possibilities, and the fans fully support that idea of adding to what we already know and love.